Since the debut of their Model S sedan, Tesla Motors has gained accolades and fans.
With the Model X debut, Tesla enters the luxury SUV market and continues to refine what they think transportation should be. Electric, fast, spacious, and you don't even have to drive it.
We all drive cars every day. They need to meet our budget and our needs, but they should also be fun. That's our whole premise.
We're a small outlet, and we love what we do. We also make a lot of content.
We do. I mean, for YouTube, we do these big comparisons like the one you're about to see, but we also do single cars with our fast blasts and long turns.
Outside YouTube, once a year we make a huge feature film. From the only full retrospective of the 911's first 50 years, to a celebration of affordable exotics and amazing roads, to the ultimate enthusiast road trip across Germany.
Plus, every week we do an audio podcast, The Car Debate, where we help you find a fun car that fits your situation.
So we hope you'll join us for all of it. Subscribe, please make comments, and make sure to share.
And the thing is, we do read every comment that you leave. So thanks for watching.
Here we are in Arizona. We're in Phoenix. Why did we come to Phoenix? Well, we met Randy, and he has all these Teslas that seem like an obvious reason to come. He's got every variation of the Model S.
Yeah,
he has one of the probably highest mileage Model X's so far at almost 5,000 miles, and he's only had it, when we're shooting this, about 2 months.
Well, here's the thing. How long ago did he order it? 3 years.
Yeah.
He ordered this sight unseen. The company didn't really figure the car out yet, which is
Any
funny.
other automaker, you'd be angry at him. But something about these Teslas, you just go, oh, well, I'm a beta tester, and I get to try this.
Which is funny. And they'll respond. It's part of being a smaller, nimbler company, but
yes.
On the other hand, you get to live with, here's your car, it's kind of there. We'll contact you if we have more updates.
When you find glitches, let us know. That's the
Exactly.
the new thinking of cars.
It's fun to know you can just burn everybody on right?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this is not just the loaded out 90D. This is also the one with ludicrous mode, and you can tell that because all the cars, if you're looking at any Tesla, you're wondering if it has that crazy ludicrous mode. If it has an underline underneath the badge, that means it does have ludicrous mode. This is the all-in ludicrous mode included. Plus, it's the Signature Series, which is this custom wine color you can't get otherwise. Oh, while we're here, in fact, I should do this. I can't believe I haven't done this already.
Yeah, you got to set it in auto drive so we can have a better conversation.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, now we can talk.
doing?
Here's the reason why you and I can be doing this review together, because actually right now, you're not missing out. Neither one of us is actually driving. And
That's
so
true.
we can have a conversation. It's not like, well, Todd got to drive it and Paul didn't drive it as much. No, Todd didn't drive it much either.
Drive it either.
I really didn't drive it much either.
Wouldn't matter where we're sitting almost.
Well, but here's the other thing, is this glass goes to here. I don't even know if you can still see me, but the glass goes up above my head. The seam is almost behind my head. So it's all glass. Now, the owner, because he lives here in Arizona, and it gets a little bit hot here, he's put in an extra layer of tint that isn't actually on the car. What happens is that starting here at the rearview mirror and going back, on the stock versions, there's a gradual tint. He's put in a tint line just to kind of knock back the sun here in Arizona. But by the way, I'm still talking and driving.
So
or not really driving. I'm just talking mainly.
Are you getting bored? I mean, do you want to read a book? We're going to see people reading books. I mean, we are on the edge of autonomy here. We talk about that on the podcast a lot lately. And this is our real first taste of this.
It's still figuring itself out.
It still doesn't see that yellow line over here.
It doesn't see the yellow line over here. Now it sees both. Anyway.
This is just the first step, because there are some situations where, it wants you to take the wheel, it wants you to do a few things, and then we're in town or on roads where it doesn't have the lines. This camera is located just above our camera, where it's looking down on the road to see the line. So you can see on the instrument panel here, actually where we on the lane, the cars that are ahead of you. So now we're just watching the screen. Oh yeah, we're actually
watching
moving.
the car drive itself. I've been thinking about the selling points of this vehicle. There's a lot of things about this and the Model S that are identical. I mean, the screen's the same, the running gear's the same, your ludicrous mode, your all that kind of stuff you can get on a Model S. And I'm wondering, is this necessary? But I'm also at the standpoint of, I feel like the thing this has going for it the most, that is the thing everybody's bragging about, are the air filter and the doors.
Okay. I'd add the 2 far rear seats. I mean, you could get adults. I mean, the whole point is a true 7-seater adult.
Yes, it could be a 7-seater vehicle. I do agree with that.
But how often are we actually packing this thing full of 7 adults?
Yeah, I suspect that most people that will buy a Model X won't necessarily need 7 seats.
No,
they'll want a big SUV and they'll buy a Model X.
It's the seating height is what appeals to people. I mean, and then I get in it and we're sitting here and we drive it and we do all the functions and they just work.
Yeah. Oh,
things just work.
And it's
fantastic.
It's intuitive, and it's doing things that other people haven't bothered to worry about for whatever reason.
So therefore, the interior. I mean, it's similar theme to the S. The doors, the seats are definitely better. I kind of feel like these are Volvo seat quality.
I think these are definitely better seats. I think it's a significant improvement from the Model S.
Which is saying a lot.
Absolutely.
But try to think, all right, $150,000. Let's say you bought this used for $80,000. Does this feel like that?
Tesla has decided to go the very stark, hyper-modern, very sparing style of the interior.
It's because of the screen. The things that are the tactile things, the jewels that we like, are the buttons and knobs and the beautifully crafted things,
those are all gone,
which don't exist.
Yep.
So you can't have those. It's just a screen, and
that's a place where I do feel like you're paying for the privilege, because now the seats are a definite improvement, and they need an improvement, and I like that. And the seats do cool things. I mean, the back row and the middle row moves away. I mean, they've thought of a lot of that. Again, there's been a lot of thinking and a lot of computing put into this. And, you know, there's other things that, like the air filtration system that they make a big deal of.
Oh, yeah.
With the HEPA grade, you know, like medical grade interior. And there's even a comment in the press release about how you can put this car in biohazard mode, no matter what. So it could be Walking Dead outside, and you're in here okay. And I have to ask a question. These doors are automatic. They open when they think you want them to open. So what happens if you're in biohazard mode and you step on the brake just wrong or turn the car off and the doors open? No!
You're hosed. You're dead.
And honestly, for all of the coolness of these Falcon doors, they are finicky.
Yeah, they're fussy.
They have a bit of an attitude. They're like a gorgeous woman, honestly. Sometimes everything's amazing. Every now and then it's just like, why did you just go insane? But you know what? On that line, though, following that train of thought, and I actually wonder about this in comparison to the minivan we rented to shoot this from.
Okay.
Because does this do anything a minivan doesn't? With the possible exception of cool doors.
No. You could buy 4 minivans for the price of this one.
You could. And in the same vein, minivans are not something you buy because of their driving dynamics. You buy them because of their usability.
Exactly.
And as much as we prefer to drive things that are fun to drive, even we can see the benefits of when having the minivan utility feel is helpful. But I'm sitting here going, this does everything a minivan does, a little bit sexier.
This has now become a lot of pieces of technology that already exist, now put together in a different way. Automatic doors, those have existed for years.
Sure.
But in a Falcon Wing configuration, that's different.
I'm going to stop you on the Falcon Wings for a second. Obviously, they've done a lot of amazing engineering to get those Falcon Wing doors to work.
They have. There's
the fact that
the
they
sonar and the
fact
sensors
that they will be careful and they will not just run into random things. They won't run into the top of your garage. They won't run into other cars. I can't believe the amount of effort and successful effort that's going into those doors.
Yeah.
And yet, now that I'm experiencing them, you know what I keep coming back to?
What?
Why didn't they just put minivan doors on this? And I don't mean, do they look cool? Yes, they look cool.
They look cool.
I'm talking about usability. Why did we do this? The discussion from Tesla and from others is, well, it's for easy access. Have you used a minivan door?
You're
Honestly,
right. The only thing, when I got into the far back seat yesterday and got in there, the glass cutout actually helped me with headroom.
Sure,
but then getting back out, okay, there's a little bit more usability. And Randy's grandson, dropping him in from the top into the car seat.
But
there's a little bit more usability. But I'm seeing your point.
As a parent, though, I have never...
The wall of car slides apart.
Yes. As a parent,
do your thing.
I will say...
The car closes.
Exactly. I don't understand, other than bragging rights, why this couldn't have just had those doors. And Tesla has even had problems with their supplier to get those doors, which has delayed delivery of this car. And I keep thinking, I hate to say this, but it feels like an unnecessary gimmick. You've solved a problem that didn't exist. You made these really cool doors that honestly aren't any better than a minivan door. And you could have just done minivan doors. You could have just done minivan doors. What if the thing
headroom, getting in and out, the headspace. You don't.
But they don't work as easy as a minivan door.
No,
that's the other thing.
They don't. They're fussy and finicky, and
that's
don't want to open.
It's early technology. Sometimes don't want to open, don't want to close. They're not sure. And there's 3 different ways to open and close them. There's 3 different buttons you can hit, all of which are cool. But sometimes you hit the button and we'll stand there and go, wait, the door didn't open. Why didn't it open? What do we think? Do you ever have that conversation about a door ever? You know what it is? Honestly, a minivan is a PC laptop.
Okay.
And this is a MacBook Pro.
They're both
laptops. They're both just laptops. They're both computers you can carry around with you. But most people are going to look at the MacBook Pro and think it's sexier than the PC. This is a much sexier minivan alternative.
It's an interesting thought.
And much more expensive.
You think of Apple products. Every laptop manufacturer is pursuing them in terms of design and features and functionality. But Apple computers never go on sale. And they're the most expensive products on the market.
You're right.
They say, here's the price, you will like it, you will buy it. They're kind of like Porsche like that. But they don't go on sale. And so this is not democratized for everybody. It's not electric technology that's available for everybody because of the price.
Yeah, you're right. And I can't get over the fact that, honestly, this is a real success. Everything in it is just cool and interesting, and you want to be involved with it. But when I take a step back and I try to get some perspective on it, I go, what is this doing that doesn't already exist? Nothing. Yes, it's electric. But I would take a Model S over this.
Would you?
I would.
Would you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I want this for the cool factor. And I admit, I just want it for the cool factor.
Well, I'm going to say to you right now, this is ugly.
You think so?
I don't think this is an attractive car. And I find that interesting also because I think the Model S is downright sexy looking. And the longer they're out,
I'll give
the
you
more
that.
attractive I think they are. This being the same wheelbase, they've kind of ballooned it. It looks like a keychain variation of the Model S. You know when you get a keychain? You get a keychain for your car and it looks kind of like the car, but mostly it's just this bulbous, out of proportion thing. That's this.
It's unremarkable. Nobody who doesn't know what this car is looking at it. It's just another SUV.
Unless the doors go up.
Until the doors go up.
And then it's like flies.
But it's unremarkable in terms of proportion and design. Is very subtle, but I don't think it's ugly.
It doesn't work for me.
I mean, would you take this or a Panamera? In terms of ugly design...
Panamera.
Would you?
Absolutely.
Really?
No,
you think this is worse
question.
than a Panamera? Really?
I think the Panamera is much more interesting looking than this is. And I don't think the Panamera is attractive.
I guess I'm appreciating this more from a packaging standpoint. The design being driven by the flat floor, the technology that has to go in it, and the mandate of Falcon Wing doors and 7 real people in this car. So therefore, I think it's successful.
This and the Model S, I will say, are astounding victories of packaging. There's so much great room in both of these cars.
Excellent way to put it.
They whether you like the design or not, they are packaged fantastically well. I think it would be hard to package them better. You're shocked at the amount of space. I don't think this is an attractive car.
Interestingly, nobody we've talked to so far knows what this is. On our travels today,
you're right.
They've heard of Tesla, but they've never seen this. Kind of to your point about bland styling, but still, they don't know what it is. It's all electric. Oh my gosh! And then the acceleration alone would pin their ears back, and nobody really knows what to do with that.
in ludicrous mode, 3.2 seconds, 0 to 60. 3.2. So supercar land.
It is.
From an SUV.
Is.
And honestly, with these two motors combined, are putting down about 750 horsepower and torque. I mean, they're a little bit off that, but about 750 horsepower and torque.
That's
so we're talking about
unbelievable.
Hellcat levels of acceleration in an SUV.
Yeah.
The doors and the ludicrous speed, those are the party tricks that make people talk about this car.
It is.
I mean, everything this car does well, honestly, everything this car does well has nothing to do with those two features. We get much closer to the point of this car on a freeway, going freeway speeds, autonomously driving with it full of people. That gets much more to the point of why this car exists.
It does.
Than Falcon doors and a 3-second 0 to 60.
It does, although, you know, the passing is great. So when you need to get around somebody, you need to get out of a dangerous situation, it is a non-issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I find the whole reason, you know, so many people buy these cars and they want to race them and drag race them and all that stuff, and it taps into that gasoline-fueled drag racer part of you.
It can. It taps into the exact same thing that it tapped into in the 60s with guys that originally owned muscle cars. You're back there with this car and the Model S.
Into that mode.
Which is insane that a car that on one level people are talking about being ecologically sound, you know, I've got an eco mode, but it is still stirred up in people essentially a drag from the lights, I gotta show you this mentality. I mean, it's like a Silicon Valley equivalent of take my beer and watch this. I mean, it is. It's
it is.
You know what I mean?
It's the technological equivalent of that.
There's no question that the power's fun. And you just hear the tires. That's all you hear is the tires grinding the earth backwards when it wants to take off. But because it's all-wheel drive, I've felt it in these corners. You actually can feel the front half pulling the vehicle out.
Sure.
It's like 250 horsepower up front. They aren't connected to each other at all. They are entirely independent. You're absolutely right. Entirely independent and controlled just by the computers. And you can feel it engage and pull you through a corner. It absolutely does that.
And Randy has told us how the motors, because they're not engaged or connected in any way, once you're at freeway speed, you're just traveling along like we were doing autonomously, the fronts take over. So it'll shut the rear off because it's a more powerful motor in the back, so it'll save battery energy.
But because they're not connected, it's not parasitic either. So it's now a free-rolling chassis in the back. And that's very impressive. This has been incredibly well thought out.
So many things that are thought through.
Yes.
This is a gaming wheel. It's attached to solenoids. There's zero feedback in the road. It just, the car knows where I point it.
Yeah. Well, it's not about driving information.
It's not. It's not.
It's moving you around. As much as our show is about driving, this car and driving this car and experiencing this car is not about the driving. It's the least most important thing, which is kind of shocking. It hurts my brain a little bit, to be honest with you. But that is where we are on this. They have created something incredibly desirable, staying with the laptop analogy, created something incredibly desirable that does everything that the less desirable products do as well.
Yeah. We get all these features that we like. It's like driving your smartphone. There's no reason that we would choose this on a track or for driving canyons like this, and it's great for...
It does an amazing job
getting us point A to point B.
It does an amazing job, fantastic
while we have
job
all this stuff.
Of being convenient, a fantastic job of having forethought. It's just it's thinking enough ahead of you and for you that you're like, oh, the door opened, oh, this happened. There's stuff about it that it's got a lot of intuitive nature about it, which is another thing we love about smartphones. But all of the things I like about this, I realize when I stop and think about it, the things I really like about the Model X have nothing to do with driving it.
No, they don't. I agree. I'm with you. And
as weird as it sounds, outside of what you and I love in the show, that's not actually a bad thing.
No. Like I said, it has a place. It has a place in my life. Our smartphones have a place. They do a thing. Then you come to the price. And we're still not at that point where smartphones are now, even though they're still admittedly expensive. but everybody's got one.
Sure.
So why can't everybody get this kind of technology? Because it does have a place. I'd like to own this car.
Sure.
But I wouldn't buy one for it's electric and it's green. I like the acceleration.
Yeah.
I like the utility. I like the uniqueness, and the doors do appeal to me. I almost wonder, would they sell less of these if it didn't have the doors? Would they sell less of them?
Okay, but I'll spin it to you another way. Could they have sold them for $20,000 less if they had them without the
They could have sold them for $50,000 less. Absolutely.
So that's the thing. I'm sitting here going, the doors are unnecessary. And honestly, as fun as ludicrous mode is, it's unnecessary.
It is.
These are party tricks to get people talking about the car,
Sure.
but in every other way, it is completely well done, and it is a convenient conveyance. It's the only thing that keeps hitting me on this.
I think for people to get to the $35,000 price point that they keep talking about, I'd buy that if it were 35 grand. I'd buy it for 45 or 50.
Yeah.
I'd buy that car.
Or more
All
than
these
twice
things that we're talking about have to go away.
Yeah.
You don't get ludicrous mode. You don't get the cool doors. Maybe the interface, but most of the interesting party tricks that we talk about probably would have to go away to get it to a price point where now everybody can have this. And it's still going to have some things to pull people out of their lesser expensive or a used gasoline-powered car. It's still going to have some things, apart from just being electric.
But we're at a range now, though, of 250 miles, which is most people's gas tank to begin with.
Tesla's going to have to build a PC version of the electric car. Otherwise, is this Model X just for rich people?
Well, at the moment, yes. The Tesla brand at the moment is for people that have got disposable income on expensive cars. But you're going to eventually amortize all of this you've built down to make a $30,000 car. If you take away the party tricks, this remains an amazing vehicle. That's one thing I think is interesting, and it's true of the Model S as well.
In what sense? If you take away the doors, the ludicrous mode, and
those two
what
things,
else?
the doors and the ludicrous mode, that I think are essentially party tricks, you end up with something that is interesting, it's electric, it's an alternative. It's not a blows everything out of the water, but it's an alternative, and it has those kind of revolutionary Silicon Valley, I'm sorry to say it that way, features that make you go, why hadn't we thought of that before? This is going to sound weird. I drive this and I think I can't do a car review on it because it's not really a car.
No, we're talking about the experience and how it makes us feel.
And
it's not the driving part of it that we're feeling.
It's not about that at all.
It makes everything about what we're doing, the getting from point A to point B, it makes it so much more interesting. Just like your smartphone makes everything more interesting.
Honestly, I have to rate this car two ways. Because the show is all about driving fun and experience. And this car doesn't do well there. It just doesn't. But it does many things incredibly well. And in many ways, like the first smartphones, it suggests, why haven't we done this before? Where has this been all my life? It has those kind of things about it. But I don't get in it and think, this drives well.
No,
I don't.
I didn't want to be on the twisty roads in this.
When shopping for an SUV, some people gravitate towards the best SUVs built for driving feel. But clearly, the Model X has an entirely different focus. That isn't the point.
There are SUVs I'd rather drive. And if we're talking electric cars, I'd rather have a Model S.
I'll always have my fun car, but the Model X could have a place in my life too.
The Model X does many things well. It is intriguing, and it succeeds at being a great place to be and a unique way to travel.